Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Texas Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Trevor Neal. I am here with my co-host, Travis Tyler. How are you doing this evening, Travis?
I guess as good as I can be. I don't really know how to answer that question these days, especially
Yeah,
after the game.
it's gone from bad to worse here in the Lone Star State for the Dallas Stars. Game 4 just ended against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. The Stars lose their third straight game now, 4-1. Two of those are empty netters, so 2-1 win with an asterisk. Oilers fans are going to hate that, but I have to have something over them because they have our number this series. It seems like the Oilers really do have the Stars' number through the first 4.
Yeah, it's scary. The way they've just been able to take over this series. I mean, they ran game 1. We've said it a million times. They ran game 1, except for those power plays. They got the Stars back, and since then, I mean, the Stars have scored 2 goals in the last 3 games. That's not going to win you any series, let alone against Edmonton.
No, and it's weird to break down this game kind of like period by period or even moment by moment, because I think the things that we would say if we broke down the game like that would be the exact same things we said for game 2. It would be the exact same things we said for game 3. And I don't want to talk about that for 3 straight games. What I think we need to talk about in this episode is kind of the series as a whole, kind of what went wrong here, because yes, the series isn't over, and I don't necessarily want to call this an autopsy. But it feels like one a little bit. This is just such a 3-1 series lead is always going to be such a daunting situation to be in. But they really have their backs against the wall more than they have any other point in any deficit I've seen recently from this team. It just seems like the Oilers are a better team, and this matchup did not favor Dallas whatsoever.
Yeah, it seems like Edmonton's the better team, deeper team, faster team, playing better hockey, playing more connected, getting more contributions from their key players. And tonight was probably the night to try to go get them, even though it was in their place. There, you get the Hyman injury, you got no Connor Brown, Ekholm's still out. They're as injury plagued as they have been throughout this playoff.
Yeah.
So it was probably the weakest that they've been going into.
If there was going to be any night for the Stars to re-grab some momentum in the series, it was tonight. I kind of want to talk the coaches in this series. It's a really interesting coaching matchup. You have Pete DeBoer from Dallas, and you have Knoblauch in Edmonton. And we talk about the last how many years here in Dallas he's been here, of how much success we see in the Pete DeBoer era of the Dallas Stars. I think we're having the conversation. He's been outcoached in this series. He looks a little panicky behind the bench. I feel like every game we're hearing the broadcast talk about how Pete DeBoer is not a coach who likes to play with his lineup whatsoever, but he's made a significant change every game this series. It's a coach that's reacting, very much reacting to how the series goes. The big decision tonight, Rupe did make his return into the Stars lineup tonight. A little bit surprising from my end. I'm not sure if you kind of saw that coming a little bit more, but I was really thrown aback by Rupe coming into the lineup, and they needed him. But the guy who comes out is Evgeny Dadonov.
Yeah, I was kind of 50-50 on Rupe for tonight. Before the announcement was made. Dadonov being the scratch was a pretty big puzzler. He's been, not the Stars' best player, but he's been one of the best.
Not the one we're complaining about.
Yeah, he's been one of the best effort players. He's not going to be the fastest skater, but he's one of the more sound players. He's had one of the best seasons of his career this year too.
Yeah.
So it's a surprise to see him, especially with the effort that he puts together on the defensive end as one of those bottom 6 forwards. Usually it's a surprise to see him pulled out. I did kind of like how they put Steele and Blackwell together on a line. We've been talking pretty much all series about how
They look like they're trying. When they're on the ice, they look like they're
the
trying.
maximum effort guys, the guys that have had the more energy. And to their credit, the Stars did look like they were coming out with more energy early in this game. But again, to your point about DeBoer getting out coached and being reactive, it seemed like Edmonton, after that first period, was able to adjust and kind of take over their game, whereas the Stars just kind of turned back to that dump and chase model that doesn't work against a faster team.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's boring and it's uninspired, but I kind of want to talk just a little bit more about the Dodonov decision, because I don't think it was the right decision, because I think Dodonov is a great playoff guy. But we have talked in the series leading up to this moment, do the Stars need to make some lineup moves to encourage a speedier lineup? Dodonov is not the guy I'm looking for speed whatsoever.
Right.
But it still feels wrong, but I don't think there is a right decision going into this, because Back has some legs to him. He can move, but I wouldn't really want to take him out. Blackwell's been good. So it's like, who's the guy that comes out? I don't know how many better decisions I think they're between a rock and hard place. There's no good decision to be made here.
That's why what I texted you was, I think this feels more like a, hey, we have to try something different kind of decision.
Yeah.
Because
I don't
who
think
else are you going to take out? You don't want him out, but who else are you going to take out?
Yeah.
Basically.
Once a coach, I don't think that was a move. At least the Stars probably have some underlying numbers that we can't begin to understand that says, yes, this was the right decision to make tonight. And I'll leave some leeway for that. But this move did not feel like it had intention with it. Like, this is specifically why we're making this move. So when I see a coach make a move without intention during a playoff series, I see you're on the back foot, because you're just trying things.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a solution.
Yeah.
Ah, man, what do we do? Just like pull a name off and throw Rupe back on there. It's what it felt like. And we saw not much. It didn't change anything. Rupe coming into the lineup tonight didn't change much versus Game 3.
No.
Like you said, I do think the Stars did have a really good start to this game. I would argue probably their best start of the series, but it doesn't mean
honestly
anything.
Probably their best overall game of this series outside of those power plays.
Yes, so this series has been such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Right. We have
a terrible 4-1 loss.
Yeah, we have a terrible 40 minutes to start. We have a great 10, and then awful, really bad Game 2. We can just move past Game 2. And then a slightly better Game 3, a slightly better Game 4. And I do think you're right. We probably saw the Stars play their most complete game of the series tonight. The problem is we're talking about a loss. Mm-hmm. And we're like, man, we got the best performance we could out of this lineup. And they lost 4-1.
3 in a row.
Three in a row losses.
3 in a row.
It's
couldn't get the split out on the road that they needed.
Yeah, I said in our conference final preview episode, I did have a feeling Edmonton would come out on top on this series. I said 7. I may have said I said either 6 or 7. I was not predicting 5.
We both said 7, and we were on opposite sides of the coin.
Yeah,
about the 7th game.
But I would have never guessed the Stars would just lay an egg the way they have throughout this series. They just have been outplayed in every facet of the game, and there's some players I really want to have this conversation about tonight. And I think one of the guys that we're going to talk about, Mason Marchment, is in this lineup because he has a bad contract. We're ready to have this conversation. He's not good enough to be on this lineup right now.
No, he's not. He hasn't done anything in the postseason except take penalties.
No, it's all like take off the sugarcoating, man. Like you're taking a bad penalty. It feels like every night. We've been saying this since the beginning of the Winnipeg series.
1 goal for
it's not good enough.
-3. Yeah.
It's not. And all he's adding is just a stupid penalty every night. And he's got this boat. It feels like a boat anchor at this point. especially with how much skill the Stars have to be really smart with how they spend their money, with how talented this lineup is. And when you're having little to no production from a player like Mason Marchment, who takes up a good
playing on the
chunk,
second line,
there's no excuse for him to not be playing this well at all. We've seen
so
him play better.
The two guys next to him, Sagan and Duchesne, they haven't been lighting the world on fire like we want them to, but they're much more skilled than some of the other guys that he could possibly be playing with.
So those two have had a weird amount of odd man rushes in this series, right?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like if there's a 2-on-1, it's Duchesne and Sagan.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that not once Marchment was in on one of those?
He was kind of in after it tonight. There was one in the first period where somehow they didn't score, but in my opinion, you absolutely had to score on that one.
Congrats, Mason. You got one scoring opportunity.
The puck, I don't remember exactly what happened, but somehow they didn't score on the 2-on-1, and the puck came around to Marchment with an empty net, and Skinner was able to slide over and stop it. So
it's like, if we're gonna have
as good as he's been the past couple of years, he has not been good during this postseason.
No, he's not. And look, if you want to let's take contracts out of the equation, and you just looked at the Stars lineup. Let's look at the healthy scratches. Let's look at all their forwards, ignoring how much money they make. Marchment should have been the guy to come out. Like,
arguments there, the way he's been playing.
The argument's there.
Yeah.
What are you adding? You can't take Jamie out. I could have the same conversation that Jamie's not been good enough.
Right, but you're not scratching your captain in the Western Conference.
You're not scratching the captain because the team is very adamant, and I believe them with how adamant they are. He is a behind closed doors captain.
Yeah.
And I believe that coming from them.
Yeah.
I know that Jamie takes a lot of criticism from the fan base. I'm not going to comment on his ability to lead just from what I've heard.
Yeah, and on your point about scratching Marchment, it can be a very easy way to serve as a wake-up call. Like, hey, you haven't been playing well enough. Sit down, think about it. Come back and give us your best.
Just because we gave you this money, 3 years ago, doesn't earn you a lineup spot. Man, like, I just look, a guy like Blackwell, I have a very strong feeling is going to add more. A guy like Oscar Back, I feel like is going to add more to the lineup right now. I feel like a guy like Evgeny Dodonov is going to add more to the lineup right now. I could make the argument a player like Maverick Bourque is going to add more to the lineup right now than Marchment is. And it's because I don't know if that's a fun conversation between Jim Neal and Pete DeBoer. I believe Marchment makes about 5. I could be very wrong on that. But
I don't know if fun is the right word to be wondering about there.
No, it's not fun. No one's having fun in that conversation. No one's having a good time. No, but man, it's like, what do you do with him? Because he's at the point where that's the one thing that sucks about the hard cap system that the NHL has. Is it's hard to take him out of the lineup. It is. But Friday or Thursday night is do or die.
Yeah. You need to be pressing all the right buttons or your season's over.
Yeah, no, you have to take 12 forwards or 11, it's probably going to be 12, into that game on Thursday. It's stupid to not take your best 12 forwards. Yeah.
And while you're at it, you might as well find some like magic beans or something that'll give them some speed.
Yeah, do anything. Like, because look, the way that they've played tonight, I'll say it on air. They did not deserve to win tonight at all. They played better, but they got outplayed still. They don't deserve to win this series with what they've shown so far.
And like I said earlier, Edmonton feels like they're playing more connected, especially when getting the puck out of their zone. With Dallas, how many times did they hit their own defenseman in the back trying to get past their own blue line?
It's sloppy. It was sloppy, very sloppy, uninspired hockey.
And Edmonton's forecheck can be aggressive, but it wasn't so much tonight. It was at times, but for the most part, it was unforced errors coming from the Dallas side in the back end.
If keep your mind on that thought. So you take that, you add on Zach Hyman comes out 10 minutes into this game and misses the rest of the game. This was your opportunity. You aren't going to get more of those. If you're going to beat Edmonton in Edmonton to get back into a series with your back against the wall, tonight was the night.
Yeah, I mean, Hyman.
The stars aligned for the Stars, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Hyman is not only their most physical player, as he's proven this, or at least in this series or in the playoffs. He's not usually that physical from what I can remember, but he's also a former 50-goal scorer himself playing next to McDavid. You take that out of the lineup, I mean, that weekend Edmonton is about as much as you can.
There's not I'm going to try my best to say
unless
this
you're taking out McDavid or Draisaitl, that is.
I'm gonna try to say this as unbiased as possible because I talked about in the last episode how much I love Zach Hyman. I love him as a player. I got to watch him on my team for years. Now, I try to say this without bias, but you could put him on any first line in the league, and he would fit right in. And he is going to be one of the best players on his team. It may not be flashy, but that dude gives 150% every time he's on the ice. He is awful to play against because he's always there. It's like he's never leaves the ice, and he is always trying so much. It may not be showing in hits. It may not be showing goals. It may not be showing in assists. Definitely not assists. He's not an assist guy. He doesn't get those.
Yeah.
But like he makes your team hard to beat and hard to play against. And they didn't have him. And they didn't have Connor Brown as well, who's a very talented right winger, a little bit banged up tonight, misses his first game of the season, regular season or playoffs. Crazy at his age. I mean, he's not old, but crazy to make it that many games. He's not in the lineup. You have Hyman. Like, this is a battered Oilers team, and they didn't look any different.
Yeah. And then you have Corey Perry at 40 years old outperforming half the Stars lineup.
Yeah.
It's say what you want about the penalties and how much Stars fans hate the guy now, but he's performing better than you would expect, and it's making a difference in the series.
100%. 100%. And this entire series, I don't even think we've brought it up too much on the show. They don't have Ekholm. He's not playing.
Yeah.
He is their Heisman. He's not Heisman, but he is their best defenseman every night. Is not played this series. The Stars deserve to have their season end tonight. They didn't deserve game one. They've gotten slapped up and down the ice. Not to the level that Carolina has. Yeah, but this looks like a sweep.
Yeah. It easily could have been a sweep right now if it wasn't for that third period. Now you're coming back home, must win. And honestly, you probably have a lot of people doubting if you can win that game.
I am.
Yeah,
I'll be blunt. I don't think they're winning that game. You know what? I'll come on the show and go, damn, I was wrong.
I think that's a fair enough assessment. I don't see I don't see a reason to think that they're going to win right now, honestly.
Exactly. Have they shown me a single ounce of anything over the last 3 games that they are going to come back home and have what it takes to win this game? No.
Maybe Jake Ottinger. That's it. Like he has kept them in a lot of games this postseason. But the goalie's not going to score you goals.
No. And we kind of got lit apart in the comments by an Edmonton fan last episode for having the conversation of Ottinger versus Skinner. And to directly answer that, even though you should never answer mean comments, and that wasn't really that game, is yes, Skinner is the much better goaltender than Ottinger in this series. But I think the conversation is a little bit more complicated than that, than this goalie's better than this one. Skinner has not been tested really anything really crazy. He's played great. He's been absolutely fantastic. And I don't want to diminish what he's done at all. Please, Oilers fans, if you listen to this bit, listen to that part too. He's been fantastic and deserves the praise that he's getting right now.
That was part of our argument. We were not saying that he doesn't deserve any of.
I've never said. I'll take that back. I said Skinner was bad before we played him, and he's been good since.
We said his reputation is the worst of the two. Yes, yes. Let's put it that way. But we said his reputation was as a bad goalie, but over last year's playoffs and this year's playoffs, he's shown up.
Look at the 2 goals that went in against Ottinger tonight. You have a one-timer from Leon Draisaitl that pass was unexpected. That play should not develop into a one-timer the way it was.
No,
it did.
No.
That's a weird play.
That was a rocket right off the stick. Yeah.
Are you expecting Jake Ottinger to stop that? I'm not.
I tweeted as much. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was Corey Perry who scored the power play goal to go up 2-1. And we'll come back to the leading up to that goal a little bit more, but Ottinger can't stop that. You allow a player
right in the crease right behind him, and
almost completely undefended.
Yeah,
to score.
You got to be more physical, especially with the defensemen that we've been playing. You got to be more physical in that area.
Yes, if you're not going to be fast,
a little contact. Yeah,
it's Ottinger. Has he had his best series? No. But I'm not looking at a single one of these games going, Ottinger could have won us that. No. He's the last guy we should be like. I feel bad for him.
No, yeah. My point is he's kept them in the games. He's not a reason.
We're not blaming Ottinger.
The reason it's not 10-1 instead of it's the reason it's 4-1, 6-1, not 9-1, 10-1.
Yeah. No, and the fact that we're going, man, he kept it only 6-1 is like, it really says a lot about the way that the Stars played. And there was a specific kind of series of events in this game that I think is very indicative of how the Stars series has gone in its entirety. So Jason Robertson actually ties this game at some point, and it's a beautiful goal, beautiful shot. The celly, it really felt like, we can take this. We can take it right back in it. We got the goal we needed. And immediately Mason Marchment takes a penalty. Immediately. And what pissed me off about this penalty is the power play that the Stars were just on was caused by an interference penalty on a pick. Okay, those are not called that often unless they're blatant, especially come playoffs. If I'm a player and I see that get called, I'm not doing the same thing a minute later.
Yep.
And it just, my personal feelings after the Robertson goal was that gives them a chance. I'm not saying they're back in this. It gives them a chance to get back in this. As soon as Marchment took that penalty, Edmonton was scoring.
It's deflating. Yeah. I mean, Edmonton
you knew
2 for 3 on the night, 2 for 2.
2 for 3. Because they didn't get one at the end.
I mean,
because they took that penalty with 5 left.
And then that just comes back to what we've been saying all series. You don't want to play Edmonton 5-on-5 or less. You want to have the man advantage as much as possible. And you're giving them so many opportunities, and through this series they've converted on them, and that kind of brings me to the point that the Stars haven't been converting on them.
Not at all. Let me pull up the Stars power play. It was 1 for 4 tonight. So if you want to look at 25%, it's not good, but you'll take 25%. But if you look at the whole series, it's been awful.
I thought it said 3 for 19 on the road in the playoffs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. Not good.
There's so many stats about how just what the Stars have been doing has not been sustainable. Their round 1 and 2 wins, the way that they went about that, we can talk about them as positively as we can. There were a lot of holes.
A lot of coming from behind, which we've talked about over and over on this show.
So many times, and it's not even like, man, we grinded to get back in this game. No, it's the goals came. They just happened. We got like 3 of them.
Got some bounces.
I don't really know what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight was the Stars' 17th. I don't know if you saw this stat, but 17th game of the playoffs so far. They have given up the first goal 14 times.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
Will not and should not win a Stanley Cup doing that.
You shouldn't even be in the Western Conference Finals doing that, if I'm being honest.
No. It's like they've been outscored by how many in the first period on the road.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've scored I think it said they have not scored a road goal in the first period yet these playoffs. I think I saw that. I may be wrong, but I saw something along those lines. And then they're getting outscored brutally in the second period. Like we've talked about it before, the second is their kryptonite. Somehow worse than the first.
Yeah. You look at all these stats and you think, how the hell did they get by Colorado in the first round?
Colorado's kicking themselves.
Yeah.
Because
Colorado had that series won.
They did. They really did.
Yeah.
They should have won that series. And Mikko Rantanen, one-man army, the Stars into winning that series. The Winnipeg series, not as much. I feel like the Stars got kind of a
The Stars. The Stars. I'll give the credit. I'll give the Stars enough credit for playing well enough to win the series. But Winnipeg didn't show up really either.
They didn't have their best series. No, and this is what happens when you have a team.
Yeah, they didn't show up in the way we expected them to. It's a better way of putting that.
No, not with how many games they won in the regular season. How well they played us in the regular season. Winnipeg should have won that. And then we get into this series where Edmonton is probably a more talented roster, but not enough that we're looking at a 3-1 series deficit and we're talking about the season like it's over. Like there were so many holes. The conversation this offseason is, I disagree with it now. I kind of need to sit and think about it more. The conversation around Pete DeBoer is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's justified.
Yeah. You get
really need to sit on
this
that
round over and over, it comes up.
And you have to look at the fact there's a stat like, he's been to so many Western Conference Finals and all that, and he's been fired how many times over that duration. It's because he's never gotten it done. He's always gotten here. Every team he coaches gets here.
It's unfortunate.
Not many of them win.
It's unfortunate because he's a good guy and fun guy to talk to for sure.
He's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
100%. But it may not be 100% because of his, I'm not going to say inability, because he's still got years ahead of him behind an NHL bench.
It's the track record. Yeah.
The track record, the inability to secure the Stanley Cup really has been.
That's the one thing he's missing. That's it.
Yeah. No, because, man, this 3 straight Western Conference Finals without a Stanley Cup final appearance is hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do.
It's hard to get to Western Conference Finals 3 times in a row, period.
Yeah. And we talked like last year after the series against Edmonton about how, man, we got goalied. Stuart Skinner came out of nowhere. He outplayed us. We didn't have our best series. And we lost, but man, we were the better team. And then we see kind of a more fair playing field between the two this year. You can hate that opinion, but this is a fair playing field between the two. They got spanked. Like, they got destroyed. Like, this has not been pretty to watch. It's been painful to watch. And it's weird to steer it, but you kind of need to when we're going game by game like this. Travis, what do the Stars need to do on Thursday at the American Airlines Center, down 3-1, backs against the golf course? What do the Stars need to do to get it done?
I mean, you kind of said it. You got to play like your back's against the wall. You got to come out aggressive, as fast as they can. Obviously, they're not going to beat Edmonton's speed. Like you said before, they got to play their best 12 forwards. Mm-hmm. Or if they feel like 11 and 7 is better again, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if that would be where I would go with that, but it certainly it probably entered somebody's mind. And you got to play as aggressively as you have in like the first one or two periods of the past couple games for the entire game, and you need to make some kind of adjustments and not just turn into a team that's going through the motions and trying to figure things out.
They need to play a game that's going to induce heart failures, because I think they need to play a more open game.
I got my bypass scheduled.
They need to play like every time they touch the puck, they need to put everything on the line.
Yeah,
you need to go for.
Yeah, they talk about putting all these pucks on the net, and they're missing the net with all these pucks, or they're being a little too unselfish, and everybody in the freaking arena is yelling, "Shoot the damn puck!" and they don't.
Yeah.
Shoot it.
Like, play like those 50-50 decisions where it's like, should I pinch? Should I not pinch? Pinch.
Yeah, what do you got to lose?
Try something. Yeah. Exactly.
You're either making it a series or you're losing the series.
If they go into this game and they give up 6, well, we played. If they just, I need to see the offense just have something. Just some type of, we're giving it our all. Mm-hmm. And there's absolutely zero excuses for the puck not to go in the net.
Yeah.
It has to. It has to. I'm not taking another 1-goal loss. I don't care how well Skinner plays. You need to put some on the board.
Yeah. It needs.
I don't care
more than
if
1 goal
it takes
in the game.
85 shots. Like, just... Man, and there's some narratives that I kind of want to talk about that I don't want to see them do, that some people are asking for, and I think it's stupid. It's stupid, and I'm thinking you're going to agree, but we saw Evan Bouchard tap the skates, or the left skate of Rupe Hintz tonight, and definitely the spot that he got slashed and caused him to miss the last game. And there's a lot of people that are like, man, this is why they're losing, because they're not attacking back and they're letting them do these things. I think that's a dated mentality. I do. Do you know how you beat them? Put the puck in the damn net. Don't get that's what they want you to do. They're doing this to piss you off.
Yeah.
Don't react to it.
That's what I'm saying. That's playoff hockey. Like, you might not like that it's getting caught on tape right now, but back, you think in the 90s people weren't doing that during the games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're going. Just think about it from any sport. Like, you're playing basketball, you find out the guy's got a bad left knee. You're going to take him to his left every time. Yeah. It's not contact, but it's still going at the injury every time, and that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I do really appreciate I think the official handled it perfectly. I saw that. I didn't call it, but they did show on the broadcast. The ref came over and told Bouchard and the coach, I don't want to see that. That's the line that needs to be drawn.
I didn't notice that, yeah.
The Stars let the refs handle it, but there's a reason why in hockey we don't say what the injury is. We say upper body or we say lower body, and we say nothing else. Because what happens if you were to say, let's say Hyman broke a finger and he's able to play next game, just tapes it, tore it all, the old school, get him back on the ice. And they said, yeah, before the game, they're like, yeah, he broke his finger. Every player on the Stars is slashing his hand all night long.
Yeah.
And the upper versus lower body, what we say, definitely, like, everyone knows what was injured in Rupe's case. But you add a little bit of, we can hide a little bit more information, because this is what happens when that information is public. Everyone knew it was a foot issue or ankle, shin, foot issue. So Bouchard, he's going to go in there and he's going to give him a love tap on the skate. It probably wasn't going to injure him. It's the sport. It's playoff hockey. As soon as they get into that mentality of, man, we need to get him back, we need to get Nurse back, you lost. Don't even play the game, because that's exactly what they want you to do at this moment. I'm pretty sure they weren't asking, at the time, they weren't looking at Darnell Nurse going, yeah, you should slash him in the foot and take him out. They weren't doing that purposely, but afterwards they're like, yeah, we're in their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Come out and take stupid penalties against us. Do it. And I'm glad that they haven't. I think that's a stupid narrative to try to tell them, man, they need to. The reason they're down in this series is because they're letting themselves be bullied. No. Like, you haven't. I'm sorry. I'm going to call people out. Like, man, your mindset on the sport, it's not 1990 anymore. You need to, the sticks aren't wooden anymore. We can move past this. Like, this is an offensively minded game now. If you want to show that you're mad at the Oilers for these kinds of, man, they're beating up on Rupe, put the puck in the damn net.
Yeah.
If it was a regular season game, be like, chuck some nucks, But
we've seen
no,
that's
we're not
not
doing
working
that.
either. Like, how many times have we seen scrums on the ice? And
it doesn't seem to phase Edmonton whatsoever.
Yeah.
No, they have Corey Perry. Like, they're good. Like, you're not messing with that team at all. Like, we've seen the good and bad of Corey Perry. It's not going to phase him whatsoever. But on the opposite side of the bracket, just so we're not, I feel like we're just kind of like kicking the team while they're down, talking about the game itself. Someone had a much better game 4 than the Stars did. The Carolina Hurricanes. Finally, if I had confetti, I would launch it. End the streak. Dating back to 2008, they finally win an Eastern Conference final game. 3-0 against the Florida Panthers. And in the grand scheme of this series, that win is going to mean nothing.
Yeah.
But to the Hurricanes,
tomorrow.
to the Carolina Hurricanes, that game means so much. They are ecstatic. And I need to point out, and I don't remember this ever happening in a playoff game, the Panthers definitely rested players in a playoff game. They sat 3 forwards who they're like, yeah, they're hurt. I'm like, no, they're not. They'll be back for the next game. They took tonight off. They might have something nagging, but you've destroyed this team for 3 straight games. No, they're taking the night off. Paul Maurice is that ballsy of a coach. He would do that, like 1,000%. But the Hurricanes finally get back into the win column. They are now 1 for 15 in Eastern Conference final games dating back to 2008. The game-winning goal, Travis, you know who scored the game winner for Carolina last night?
It was Stanky, wasn't it?
It was Logan Stankoven. He opened the scoring, and that counts for a game winner. So he gets on the board, and one thing that Stars fans noticed, and I kind of wanted to bring to this show, so we can have something kind of positive and cute to talk about, he still has a green mouth guard. And Stars fans thought that was the cutest thing in the world. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
At least, that's mean. I'm going to say it. At least someone in green is scoring. Someone wearing green should be scoring a big goal in the conference finals.
He would be very helpful on this team right now, but then again, you wouldn't have the most helpful one of all of them if you didn't get rid of him.
I loved Logan Stankoven. Like, at one point, he was a guy I was considering getting a jersey of. I'm not mad about that trade whatsoever, and I don't think we're going to be mad about it.
Yeah, you can't be mad about that trade, but you also can't deny he would be extremely helpful to have right now.
Yeah, because he's 100% energy guy every shift.
Yeah,
he really is. He's a water bug. But it was really happy. It was a really cool moment seeing Logan Stankoven get a game winner. I'm not gonna say put Carolina back in the series because it still doesn't feel all that much different. It felt like they took the dog out for ice cream. I know that's dark, but that's what that win felt like. it's a little dark, but
I'm
like
a little comfortable now.
yeah, but like like you said, this series is probably over tomorrow night, tonight by the time y'all listen to this. But it was good to see Carolina. Definitely a morale win. They put Freddie back into net, which we're talking about DeBoer panicking. They're switching goalies on a nightly basis.
I do think that was probably the right decision, but
yeah, I don't think taking Freddie out was a good one in the first place, personally. Like, but I get it. Man, you're down 3-0 and nothing's gone your way. You got to do something. So, Rod the Bod did make a good decision. I forget your line that you said about Rod last episode. You said something.
Oh, I called him Hurricane Rod.
Hurricane Rod, yeah. Hurricane Rod storms back. The term Hurricane Rod can be used interchangeably for good or bad things for the Hurricanes. It just, whenever something crazy's happened, Hurricane Rod.
I used it in a bad context, and I probably should have used a Florida example instead of Rod Brindamore, but
it's here now, and it's going to stay.
Yeah.
This one's going to dig deep for the Hurricanes. All those superstar players leaving in 3 months. Hurricane Rod just threw him right back out. Nothing you can do. But so we're overall we're looking at 2-3-1 series leads. The two fan bases feel like they're in a very similar kind of. Everyone kind of feels like they're in the same mindset. Dallas and Carolina are pretty similar in that down in the dumps, everything is bad.
I feel like the Dallas fan base is a lot more outspoken, though. A lot more present.
Yeah. No, because Carolina's like, man, I'm just glad we didn't get swept. Like, that's where they're at. Like, we had higher expectations going into the series than Carolina did. I feel like there's going to be someone that gets mad. But, like, another Edmonton, Florida Stanley Cup final, as boring as it is, will be a good watch. Those teams are just so talented. They're very obviously the best two teams in the NHL right now. And it'll be a really fun series. Excusing one of the two coming back. I don't feel confident in either of their cases, but it is the NHL playoffs. Literally anything can happen. Remember the Lightning, 62 wins, I think it was, got swept after being up 3-0 in game one.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen.
That was nuts.
Yeah. Before I kind of wrap today's episode up, is there anything that I missed that happened tonight that we want to talk about? Just they're bad. Needs to be better.
Think you missed anything.
Okay.
No.
So we will be back here Thursday nights. The Stars are facing elimination. Be ready. We will be here to break down whatever happens. Hopefully we're sitting here smiling. As you can kind of tell from our tones, we're not as optimistic about that happening. But again, it's the NHL playoffs. The Stars are going back to the American Airlines Center. Anything is possible. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate. Do whatever you do on your platform. It really helps us out. Share it. Tell all your friends. We really appreciate you listening, and we will see you for Game 5.